Hey, congratulations on getting yourself a set of VaGenie pelvic weights. The VaGenie progressive weight training system is an excellent way to help you condition and strengthen those hard to access pelvic floor muscles and to work your way to feeling happier and healthier from the inside out. In this video, I'm going to give you a primer on what the pelvic floor muscles are, why it's so important to keep them healthy and strong, and how the VaGenie progressive weight training system can help you achieve your pelvic health goals. So the pelvic floor is a basket of muscles that sits in the pelvis. It connects to your core and your lower back. And in females, it's responsible for supporting the bladder, the uterus, the rectum, and the vaginal canal. Now, unfortunately, most women at some point in their lives are going to have weak pelvic floors. And that, of course, can be the result of pregnancy and childbirth. But it can also be the result of aging, weight gain, hormone changes, or even being a high-impact athlete like a runner or a gymnast. As a result, unfortunately, we can also suffer from various disorders because of weak pelvic floors, such as incontinence, which is that whole pee when you sneeze thing, prolapse, which is when one of those organs that the pelvic floor muscles are usually supporting starts slipping and falling out of the body, back pain, hip pain, sexual disorders, and depression. So that's why it's really important to keep your pelvic muscles active and healthy. Strong pelvic muscles can mean a stronger core, stronger lower back, heightened confidence, and even better sexual response. So how do we use the VaGenie progressive weight training system to help strengthen and condition the pelvic floor muscles? Okay, so the goal with these is to use them for about 15 minutes, if you can, every day, but as often as you can. First, we're going to help you find which weight you want to start with. Now, if you're starting with the lightest weight, which is all the way here, the lightest color is the lightest weight, and it goes progressively darker to the heaviest weight, which is the darkest pink color. I just want to say right out of the gate, do not be discouraged if you're starting with the lightest weight. I think most of us are going to be starting with the lightest weight. So just be excited that there's all this room to grow. So here's how we're going to figure it out, because maybe you do need a heavier weight to get started with. You do want to be able to get the most out of working with these weights. So the idea is we're going to see which weight you can hold in for 15 minutes comfortably. And once we find the one that's a little harder to keep in for that amount of time, that's the weight you're going to work with, if that makes sense. So the first day, I would say in the morning, it's always good to do it in some sort of routine. So when you have some time, you're going to put in the lightest weight. You put it in much like you put in a tampon. If you need to use lubricant, please do so. You can use as much as you like. These are made of medical grade silicone, very safe for your body and very safe to use with lubricant. So you're going to put it in your body and you're going to go about your morning. You can take a shower. That's an excellent thing to do. Take a shower, walk around, do your dishes, whatever it is. So this is just keeping it in your body in a natural way. What you're doing with that is you're working on just the general conditioning and endurance of those muscles. So put it in, take your shower. If it stays in comfortably for 15 minutes, great. The next morning, I want you to use the next weight up. Do the same thing. And keep doing so until it's difficult to keep one of these weights in. So that could mean that it starts feeling like it's slipping out or it falls out altogether. It's fine. Don't be discouraged. You are absolutely going to see a difference if you start using these weights. So once you find the weight that is a little challenging to keep in for 15 minutes, that's the one you're going to work with. And then what we're going to do is work through two different ways of working with your weights. So the one is something I've already sort of touched on, which is for conditioning and creating endurance in your muscles. This is so that your muscles adapt to doing their everyday job of just continually holding up your organs, okay? So find that weight, put it in, take your shower, take a walk, whatever it is. Try and do it every day. Once you're able to do it for 15 minutes with that weight, move on to the next weight and do the same thing with that. Another level of exercise that you can do is, and you can alternate days on doing this or do some while you're doing your endurance training, is to do what is commonly known as Kegels. So I want to explain to you what Kegels are, And before I do, I just want to let you know that the really nice thing about doing Kegels with a device like this inside is that you will have the feeling of squeezing up against something, and that's going to help you understand that you're doing your Kegels correctly, because Kegels are tricky. So stick around, I'll teach you how to do Kegels. So how do you do Kegels? Kegels are tricky. Some women have never heard of them. Some people say Kegels, by the way, so if you say Kegels, that's good too. Some women have never heard of them. A lot of women have heard of them, but are confused. They don't know if they're doing it correctly. And some of us think we are doing it correctly, but we're really not. So regardless, I think it's good to go over some very basic technique on how to do a Kegel correctly, and then incorporate that into your daily activity with your VaGenie progressive Kegel weight training system. So the basic idea, you know where your pelvic muscles are. The basic idea for doing Kegels is to concentrate both on a contraction and on relaxing the muscles. Both are equally important. You want to start by sitting comfortably on a chair, on a couch. You want to have a little bit of swing in your lower back. You want to tilt your hips back just enough so that you have a little arch in the lower back. This way we can really access those pelvic floor muscles. And then the first thing I'm going to do is get you to really relax in your belly. So take a deep breath in. And when you breathe out, I want you to relax everything in your belly. Let it all go soft, let it hang over the pants, all of that good stuff. So just let it relax. Okay, now when we breathe in, we're going to contract the pelvic floor muscle. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to think about the muscles that you contract when you're trying to stop the flow of urine or you're trying not to pee. Okay, so there's two parts to this. The first part is squeezing in like you're trying not to pee. You got that? Okay, now you're going to imagine pulling those muscles up towards your ribs. Some people describe it like feeling like an elevator moving up your body. Another way to think about it is to think of grabbing something like a blueberry and sucking it up into your vagina. It's all whatever works for you, whatever visual works for you. So squeeze in to stop the flow of urine and pull up. It should feel different. Now, if you can, hold it there for a second or two. And now we're going to go back down the elevator and then relax the muscles out. So it's breathing in together and pulling up, hold 2, 3, and then down and relaxing out. That's a basic Kegel. Now, when you do that exercise around one of these vaginal weights, it's going to be very helpful because you're going to feel your muscles pushing against the weight. And that's going to help your brain understand that you're doing the exercise correctly. Don't be hard on yourself. Oftentimes, especially when we're just starting to train our muscles and they're weak and haven't been activated very much, it's difficult to feel like you're doing anything. But any effort is going to help you progress tremendously in a pretty short amount of time. So just try and get your brain to understand what that movement is. Little by little, it's going to come. Work on it a little bit every day or as often as you can, and you're going to see great results. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you've learned something about your body and about why it's important to keep your pelvic muscles healthy and strong. I'm really excited for you all to start using your VaGenie progressive weight training system. It's amazing how quickly you're going to get results. So I really want to encourage you not to be discouraged. It's a bit tricky at first to try to get used to the process, to get used to trying to figure out where those pelvic muscles are. But I promise you, if you stick with it, ideally every day for about 15 minutes, but do the best you can, and you're going to see results. It really won't take that long, and you're going to feel so empowered. It's really a great feeling to be tuned into your body, both for the physical benefits, but also just to be aware of yourselves, to have education about your body and how it works. I know how discouraging it can be. I think it's really crazy that we don't have more support around our pelvic health. It's interesting, you know, my first child was actually born in France, and it turns out in France, their whole healthcare system takes care of women in a very different way after they've given birth. There's a whole program that goes around rehabilitating and strengthening our pelvic floor muscles, which, as we learned, get very weakened after pregnancy and childbirth. They do a lot of one-on-one work with you. They have devices that help you strengthen and rehabilitate. And I thought it was fantastic. I came back to the United States and had a baby here and had no support afterwards. And I remember thinking, this is crazy. How am I supposed to get myself back into shape? I felt terrible. I remembered how things were in France. I shared it with a lot of my friends, and the feedback was all similar. It was, why don't we have support around pelvic health? Why don't we have more education around our bodies, around pelvic health at all stages in our lives? So I hope that in using your pelvic weights, you will tune into your body in a different way. Your body will thank you. If you have any questions or want to share any of your stories, we really look forward to hearing from you. So please do reach out either through our website at VaGenie.co or through any of our socials. Thanks.